Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Whoop whoop. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. Breaking news just happened as we were about to record. Kim Zolciak Biermann from Real Housewives of Atlanta. She and Kroy have been married for a number of years now. I think about 11 years they've been married. She has filed for divorce. This morning, someone sent me the actual documents that were filed from the IRS against them, saying that they owed $1.1 million. And it was from a different account. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to totally cover this yet. Then, of course, TMZ picked that up. They absolutely owe this kind of money. It's from taxes that they haven't paid, unpaid interest, penalties, all adding up to $1.1 million that they owe the IRS for. And that goes back from as far back as 2014, 15, 17, 2018. They also owe the state of Georgia $15,000 for, state tax. So anyway, as I was getting ready to do the show, I was like, wow, I don't want to predict that someone's not going to make it, but I'm like, I predict that they're not going to make it. I had a couple thoughts before the news broke about, it broke at like 11 today on Monday, that she in fact filed for divorce and said that their date of separation was April 30th and that there is no way they can get back together. She called it like irreversible, I can't remember, irreconcilable differences, but it was something like that. It was just like, we're done. Nothing too specific, but she's asking for physical and sole custody of the kids. And that's all the details that TMZ have right now. So when I heard about the $1.1 million, my first thought was, maybe Real Housewives of Atlanta will have her come back. They've asked She by Sheree to come back. Other people have come back from that show. Possibly Portia may one day come back. That is where she got her start. She and Nene, is Nene ever going to come back? However, Nene turned out to be a real problem for Bravo because she was suing Bravo and they eventually settled out of court, but she was saying that Bravo kept her from getting all these other opportunities after she left the show to go and be on Ryan Murphy's shows, which then that didn't last and she was on Glee. Then when she tried to come back, she said, oh, Candy gets all these spinoffs and I don't. And she accused Bravo of, being, or certain cast members being racist, including Kim. She included her in there and Kim stayed silent about the whole thing. Bravo really tried to keep this whole thing under wraps. And then eventually it was over with and it was settled. I believe there was something settled and they just didn't want to address where any of these accusations were really coming from and if they were founded at all. So now, to give you guys some background on Kim, in case you're just like, I didn't ever watch that show. I don't know what you're talking about, Heather. I interviewed her and she's a fascinating character. So Atlanta was started many, many years ago. They were the third franchise to come. I believe, yes, they were either second or third, but it was OC, then New York, and then Atlanta, and then New Jersey, all around the same. They were like, those are the four main ones that have lasted and, have stayed so long. And Kim was there and she was a single mother with two girls. I want to say they were maybe like 11 and 9 at the time. And she was a single mother and we really didn't know much about anything except that she had this guy named Big Papa. And we'd see that he'd buy her a Range Rover and she was like, thank you, Big Papa. And she would like smoke cigarettes and no one could believe that she was like 27 at the time. She is only 44 now. And the girl's been living the longest life. So she was on the show for many years and then she meets Kroy. They go to some like ballroom dancing thing for an Atlanta charity and he is a football player and he is doing ballroom dancing for the charity. And she's like, who is that? Like, it's the best ass I've ever seen. They fall in love immediately. She goes to a psychic who is like, "You're going to have a baby boy." And she's like, "What?" She keeps going to this old lady psychic. And then the lady also said, "You're going to have twins and you're gonna have another girl and everything." Anyway, when the boy is 1, Corey Jr., he is now 11. They get married in this lavish wedding in which she kicks her mom out of the wedding, kicks her off the property because there were, like, outhouses or something for the guests to go to the bathroom on their property, and the mom was like, "I'm the mother, I'm gonna go in the house and go to the bathroom," and she was like, "That was it, like, I'm sick of my mom," made her leave, you saw it all on camera. His parents were not invited to the wedding because he said, "My parents did not approve of Kim." According to when I interviewed her a few years ago, they have no relationship with his parents. She then goes on to have another baby who is, Kane, who's 10, and then they had the twin boy-girl twins who are 9, and, then, of course, she has Brielle, who's now 25, and Ariana, who's 21. So, then they get their own show, and people really like watching, and she'd call them the Littles and everything, and they're kind of fun, and it went on for many years, but it has been canceled. She then started a podcast, and I remember she was gonna have a live show, and then that was canceled. Anyway, she came to do my show, and I was very excited to, like, get the juicy scoop from her about her life. And she did reveal a lot that was always confusing. One was that, the girls, Brielle and Ariana never knew that they had 2 different dads. Brielle thought her dad was the Ariana dad, and it wasn't, and somehow somebody revealed that, either her parents or somebody once she became a public figure, and that really pissed her off. So, that was pretty juicy, I remember that. But one of the things about it was to accommodate her because my office here is in Woodland Hills, and she was having to come here for press or do her podcast here or something, and then she was gonna fly out, and we were DMing each other, and she's always really sweet in correspondence with me and wanting to come on the show. And, now she had a podcast, so it behooves people that have a podcast to come on the best podcast, my Juicy Scoop, and I make everybody very likable when they come on my show. It's just one of my gifts from God. If you hate them, listen to my show because you'll probably find something that you like about her. Anyway, so I said, "Let me get a hotel room to do the show so that you guys won't be late going back to the hotel." I get the hotel room, I pay for the hotel, and I'm waiting for her. We set up the whole thing with with the cameras and the mics and everything. And I go, "Okay, we're waiting at the hotel. We're in room 929." She's like, "Oh, honey, I don't do elevators." And I'm like, "What? Don't you know? Like, don't you know I'm terrified of elevators?" Everyone knows that. I'm like, "Fuck, I didn't know that." I obviously watched the shit out of the shows. I don't remember the elevator thing. I'm like, "Well, you have such a good body. I'm sure that you can do 9 9 levels of stairs." And she's like, "Honey, no, no." I'm like, "What about Kroy? Could he, like, piggyback or something?" I'm like, she's like, "No." So now I'm like, "Oh, shit." I've already paid for the hotel room and everything. I run downstairs to the lobby person, and I'm like, "Is there any place in the restaurant or something that would be quiet enough that we could do it?" They put us in this weird, like, conference room. We set it up. It's just, like, all black, and they come. She doesn't drive either or something. She gets, no, she needs Kroy to drive. She can't be in an Uber where she'd be in the back seat because otherwise she gets, motion sickness or whatever. So anytime they travel, Kroy has to rent a car instead of using a driver, and he has to drive her. So I'm like, "God, this guy is, like, the nicest guy," right? So she comes, and she's very nice, and I think we have, like, this great interview, and then Brielle shows up, and I do think Brielle looked a lot different than what I'd seen in her photos, and she just had her makeup done, and it was, like, kind of a lot of makeup. Anyway, they were heading back to go to some party, something. They're going back to Atlanta. Brielle was very nice as well. I'm happy with the interview. My God, it was a lot of effort. All great. This is, like, before I did YouTube, but I would show clips and things of the show. So we put up the episode, and we cut a small clip. of us talking. There was a camera like filming us, right? She writes me such a mean note of like, how dare I throw up a video of her without there was no discussion that we would film this. There was no like talking about it. So unprofessional of you and everything. And her person wrote me. So I immediately like take it down. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I thought you looked beautiful, but I totally get it. Like, you're not going to approve it. Now I know to tell everybody we film it for YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube, people. And, now we do that. Now people know. And most people understand that even if it's not being filmed on shows that they do, chances are it's going to be on Instagram or something. So, be aware to look slightly cute. But she did. She was like completely done up, wig, the whole thing. Anyway, I also remember that each wig cost $7,000 when she was big with Big Papa, and she would like throw them away after a week. So while she was with Kroy, we saw in her Instagram, which is very popular, she would brag about all her businesses. I have 7 businesses. I have multi-million-dollar businesses. She had like this makeup and skincare with her daughters, very much like let's do a business with the daughters, like the Kardashians did. And I thought she was always really good at hawking her stuff. Like I thought she'd explain it well. And I thought she was good at that. But we've heard in the last year that they're foreclosing upon the house. And then she would show the house and be like, hey, haters, this is my house. It's not foreclosed upon. I am living in it. And I will live here until I choose that to not live here anymore because I don't like it anymore. And like, so what, I don't know what you're talking about. And then it was very confusing, which is why I didn't cover that much. Cause I'm like, hey, is it the first mortgage? Is it the second mortgage? Is it, something that could be refinanced? Like, I didn't want to get involved in people's like finances that much. And so what? But now that it's all out there on TMZ and she's getting divorced. So when I heard that they had the financial issues, I was like, this is what she should do. What would be really interesting and raw is, also the girls, Brielle and Ariana, which she told me, when we interviewed, Ariana was a senior, and she said, she wants to go to, she's very smart. She wants to go to USC or UCLA. I don't know if she went to college. I know that Ariana and Brianna were trying to, Ariana and Brielle were coming out here and they were putting it out that they were going to get their own reality show. Maybe they did a pilot. A lot of things are presentations where you just get with a production company. They hire a couple people to follow you around. They put together a sizzle reel. You do a couple pitch meetings. I've done it before. And then they're like, this is what the show would be. Ariana and, Brielle take West Hollywood and Kim comes to visit. And oh my God, these funny things. I do think from what I've heard from Bravo producers, it is interesting, but oftentimes when people are on Bravo for a long time, other reality shows, like whether it's, Selling Sunset or something, or buying Beverly Hills, Netflix, TLC, whatever, they often don't want the person that was one time best known for being on Bravo in a long series. In a one-off, yes. In a one series competition show, Traders, Big Brother, yes, those Bravo stars will absolutely work. But it's kind of hard to get a whole nother show going if it's not on Bravo and it's not like a direct spinoff. That's what I've noticed as a viewer and when I've talked to production people. So I don't think that was going to go. They have all these financial situations. And I'm like, what they should do is they should show a show of them truly downsizing. And this is before I knew they were getting divorced. And I'm like, she's got to cook. They, have to learn how to fix things themselves. They can't buy all the luxury items all the time. Also, I think it's pretty well written about, maybe alleged, that she enjoys gambling a lot. Well, that's a big problem too. And I think when they had the RV show, it was a lot about her going to the casinos, but I think people have seen her and it's not necessarily a secret. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully she doesn't have a gambling problem because that's bad. But anyway, so if we could see a show about them truly downsizing from someone that for the last 20 years has been all about labels and luxury and, plastic surgery and getting anything you want, having the hottest item, also seeing that maybe they're not getting invited to the hot parties anymore. I always remember she somehow went to a Post Malone concert and was backstage and, like, took a photo with Post and then, like, wrote this long thing and was like, "Afterward, we played beer pong, and Posty won. He always wins." As if, like, she and Post Malone like, there's no way, I don't think, that they've been hanging out for years. Like, I think it was, like, someone in Post camp was like, "You know what? They're really nice, they're cool," and he's like, "Sure, whatever, have them be backstage." We all know Post Malone's, like, the nicest guy on earth, so I'm sure he was very pleasant, and did they play beer pong? Maybe, I don't know. And so, but that was also the famous line that she said where she wrote to John Legend and said, "Who does Brielle have to blow to get tickets to your show?" And that also bled into a storyline of Real Housewives of Atlanta. So, getting back to now that they're getting divorced. I'm not surprised they're getting divorced. I think that they're obviously would be a huge struggle in anyone's marriage if you're in this financial straits. You're going to be blaming each other for either overspending or not handling the business or not letting me know that we're about to go into foreclosure or it was your job to pay the taxes or whatever. She can pull a Teresa Giudice and be like, "I had no idea. That was always Kroy's thing." Now, Kroy is only 37. He was a professional football player, but hasn't played in many, many years. He's been the, very at home parent along with her and doing the reality shows and all their social media stuff. So I think he really doesn't have a way of bringing in any real money in the future. And I think that she likes the finer things in life. And they probably have been fighting because who wouldn't be when your life has changed this dramatically? And so she's done. She's moved on. This isn't, her first long term relationship. I don't know if Big Papa's still around. He was a married guy. People speculated who he was. But she's 44. She's very attractive. She's got a good personality. I'm sure she can wheel in another one, just like Erica Jane. I think go out there, make it happen. I bet she will have a better chance of getting a reality show now. I think that's way more interesting to see Kim um, being single, dating, financially struggling, having to readjust her taste to know that this money isn't rolling in anymore. If I was a production company, I honestly would want to do a show with her because let's just see how real she can get. But if she's not going to be real and really share what happened and everything, then I wouldn't want it. I don't need to see her, drinking her wine in a red Solo cup and smoking and talking how she's going to get M sculpting every day. That's not. We are done with those storylines. Okay, that is so 2014. We do not care about that anymore. We would rather see something like this. So it is a family. Hopefully, the parents, they'll co-parent great and the kids will be okay. And we'll see. But I mean, she loves being famous. I highly doubt this is going to be the end that we hear of her. And if, it sounds like they're not going to be able to work it out being that she filed. So I think it is probably done. And I'm guessing he is shocked. Does he get back with his parents? What happens? And the only other thing that would be super juicy that could really make everybody love her and go, "Wow, I can't believe you're going through this," is if Kroy later on, much like the Kardashians, pulls a Caitlyn Jenner. Just saying. Something like that. That's what she was dealing with. Can you blame her? You know? Okay. There was some interesting things when she got his eyelashes dyed and things like that. So we know, I'm not saying, just saying guys can dye their eyelashes. They can paint their nails. It's whatever you want, people. Um, I had a very fun weekend. I was with Brandy and Julie, Juicy Scoop, beloved regulars, and ran into Jax at the Nest. This is in La Quinta, Palm Desert area. It's one of my favorite places. I love going there. It is old, young, and fun, and music, and just people are happy, and it's great. You can go for dinner, you can go there late at night. Later at night, there's a long line. It is so fun. Jax was there, and Jax from Vanderpump, and I've known him for many years. He's come on the show, and he's coming back to Vanderpump. He is doing great. People love the Peacock show that he and Britney do, where they rewatch it. And hopefully, we made plans for him to come on this show. And he looked great and smelled delicious and had a very soft black t-shirt on. And both Brandy and I were probably a little too handsy with him. So I want to apologize to Jax and Britney and their son Cruz. Okay, speaking of Vanderpump. So Lisa Vanderpump, her restaurant Pump will be closing. This is unfortunate. It's closing July 5th. It's been open for 10 years. I'm actually surprised it's been open that long because first there was Villa Blanca in Beverly Hills. That's been closed for 3 years and nothing has replaced it. And they closed that restaurant because their reason was the rent was getting too high. They also had several public lawsuits of people that had worked there. And, I'm not going to get into those lawsuits, but that's just like, that's the problem of, having restaurants, and also you're a high profile person, you're a celebrity, people are probably bitter they weren't on the show. I don't know what the reasons were. I'm not going to get into something I didn't study before the show. But then she opened up Pump. I loved the menu at Pump. I loved the drinks at Pump. But that place now, she said her landlord has raised her yearly rent up to $1 million. That is, just too much for her to, according to her, to run this restaurant. Now, I got a little tip off about this because I talked to her very good friend, Lance Bass, who's my good friend too. We went to dinner and she was in their wedding. Did she marry them? I can't remember if she married him or walked down the aisle. But anyway, when Lance married Michael, I went to that wedding. And so she's a very good friend. And we mentioned her, and he said, doing the restaurants in Las Vegas financially just makes so much more sense. And unfortunately, that is the case for California. Everything is so expensive here. And in Las Vegas, oh, she was a bridesmaid. So with, what's great about Las Vegas being Nevada, and also the way it's set up, if you've ever gone to her restaurant, she has one in Paris and she has one in Caesars. I think it's a great marketing move. It's in the middle of the casino. You go in, you have one delicious cocktail and maybe they only have 4 menu items, which means they don't need a big hot kitchen. They don't need a million people cooking there. And you get the goat cheese balls. And maybe if you're from Minnesota or something and you never been to LA, this is a fun thing to do. You're staying at Caesars. Why wouldn't you go in there and get a drink? So the turnover is really high. They don't even take reservations because they're we know a bunch of chicks are just coming to get a photo. You get a $25 drink, you get $20 goat cheese balls, and then you move on. So it's a very good financial move, and it's Nevada, and she's still going to keep Sir. They still have Tom-Toms, and then she doesn't have a stake in Schwartz and Sandy's. So I think that is pretty interesting, and it probably doesn't make sense. And also, they're older. It's just probably getting a lot. Nobody even works at the restaurants anymore to keep the show going. But of course, the show is hot as ever. And Sandavol was performing with his karaoke band, and people filmed it. It was not a sold out show. It was tons of empty seats. And he announced while he was singing that it's been a month since he's had a drink. He had lightning bolts on his blazer that lit up like neon signs. That's significant because he and Raquel had the lightning bolt necklaces. And in a preview of upcoming episodes, we see Raquel with Charlie, who, by the way, Charlie's barely been in this season. She was new last season, but whatever. And she is buying this lightning bolt gold necklace, and it's $750, which is very expensive for Raquel. But she's I got to have it. And of course, that's significant. So he's playing to the audience, look at these lightning bolts. And then he sings Stacy's mom. He changes it to Schwartz's mom because, of course, Tom Schwartz is his best friend, and so he sings it like that. In there, he goes, "Raquel is not for me." He changes the words and says, "Raquel is not for me." Nobody knows where Raquel is. Supposedly, she's in a mental um, wellness place working on herself, which we all agree she needs that. Um, Again, my prediction is they will not stay together. This will not continue. The lust, the fun, it's all worn off. Tom Sandoval will stay on the show with his restaurant and his band and his friendship with Tom Schwartz, and Raquel will not return to the show. That is my prediction, but I'm not always right. Sometimes I am, and sometimes I'm not. Also, Tom Schwartz, the other Tom, is in Australia right now. He posted being there. He's doing a show that's already being advertised called Stars on Mars. I know Natasha Leggero, who's a comedian, a friend of mine, she's on it as well. I don't think they go to Mars. I'm guessing they don't, but I guess they maybe simulate what life would be like on Mars. That I would do, but I don't want to do, I actually never want to go to space. I'm terrified of it. I'm terrified of being lost. I will never forget that awful movie with Sandra Bullock. I can't remember. One time Sandra Bullock was like lost in space and she was like running out of air. Like I freak out when my like charger goes, when my phone is like down to 2%. Her like oxygen was out and she's like floating around and she has to try to somehow like get back to Earth. And then also there was one, I don't know if she was with George Clooney. Anyway, I never want to be lost in space and I never want to go to space and I never want to wear a space outfit. So don't invite me to anything like that. I don't care. Just want to stay on Earth. Okay, let's get to the coronation, you guys. The coronation happened this weekend, and Princess Diana's butler, who just absolutely adores her, says that he believes if she was alive today, she would have outshone everyone, and she would have been classy enough to also attend, which I totally agree. Okay, let me get to all the stuff about what happened. We know Meghan Markle stayed home. They somehow caught her on I'm going to go back. I'm just going to go through. Somehow, miraculously, there were paparazzi waiting on a trail in Santa Barbara that she just happened to be on the day after the coronation. So, like, wow, what a coincidence, right? It's not like she called them or anything. So she didn't go, which is fine. And Harry went, but first, this was the funniest thing. A TikToker, I don't know how it even got started. Conspiracy theory started that they thought that this man was her in disguise and that she was at the coronation, and they like put the faces together, and it did kind of had like a similar like cute kind of not huge nose. I couldn't believe that. Was hilarious. The guy since has spoken. It clearly wasn't Meghan Markle because we saw her on the hike in Santa Barbara. But that was funny. As we know, Prince Harry came and he was let me see. He was seen there. Do I have a picture of Prince Harry? Okay, so here we go. Prince Harry. Now he didn't have a great seat because he was sitting with the cousins, Beatrice and the other one, and their husbands, Andrew's kids and Fergie's kids, because he was sitting with the non-working royals. That's where you get seated. And also, I mean, let's face it, he hasn't been really great to him this last year. He went there and according to a lip reader, they said that Prince Harry allegedly told Princess Eugene's husband that he is fed up with the way they treat me. It's not an ideal situation. They don't care. Then Jack, the husband, said to him, I haven't time for that. Not if it's over. I don't know what that means. Then Harry said, it's an eventuality. So the producer didn't get it all right. Who knows? They also read Charles and Camilla. That was the other thing, that she wasn't queen consort. She's just queen, full-blown queen, where, side pieces and mistresses everywhere unite. She is your leader. It all makes sense. And they were saying, I can't see a thing with this crown. I can't look up. He said, "My crown is so heavy, but if I can't see anything, I'm afraid my crown will fall off," because they both had their crowns on. And, his hands are very pudgy. It's really quite shocking. Um, I don't know if he always had those hands or if that, like, is some, like, weird thing with age, but, we did get glimpses of them even though he's tried very hard not to have them photographed. And, so it was, it looked to be like a fun thing. He had different people there. He had like a rabbi, not just the bishop of the English church. He had like a few other religious leaders there. He had um, the gospel choir that sang for the Meghan and Harry wedding. He had them return. And so, and then Princess Kate was there with her kids, and then her daughter and the little one, Louis, what's the daughter's name again? Charlotte, and the little one, um, she was like his little keeper, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, he's so, amazing," because he's just, like, doing, like, bored faces and whatever, but he's, like, little. But George, he had he wasn't with them because he had a special thing that was going on because he's also in line for the crown. So, yeah, maybe that's why Louis is doing the face. It's like he's like, "Ugh, I'm the spare." Um, so anyway, I mean, Louis is probably never gonna be king. But anyway, so he did make a toast at the after party. King Charles made a toast to his grandson, Prince Archie's 4th birthday, and he said something like, "To wherever he is." Well, we know where he is. He's at the Santa Barbara, bouncy house having fun. And so that was about it. Like, there was a concert, Lionel Richie, Katy Perry, and I mean, I wasn't, like, glued to what was happening with it. I mean, we knew it was, and then Harry left right after. Of course, he's not going to hang around and have, like, tea sandwiches, like, it's totally awkward, but I think it's great that he went, and same thing with Meghan. I said it before, I'm like, I think she just was, like, probably is a juicy scooper and was like, I'm gonna take Heather's advice, and I don't fuck with anyone that doesn't find me wonderful, so I'm not going to the coronation. I don't need this shit. I'm going to call a paparazzi, and they're gonna see me on a casual walk, with my friends, and so there you go. And if you like that saying, you can go to heathermcdonald.net and get all the merch along with whatever Who Cares, Juicy Scooper, I'm a Delight. It's all right there in tanks, t-shirts, sweatshirts, any size you wish. So there you go with all the fun that was involved with also someone mowed a large penis into the grass where the coronation was going to be. So, just some English humor. But, there's some people that are English that were like, I can't believe the taxpayers have to pay for this. But most people just were happy with the ceremony and liked it, it seemed like. Um, okay. But what I thought was interesting, because everything always comes back to reality TV, as you know, in Real Housewives of New Jersey, we've got Teresa, who got some slack that at her wedding, she was not inviting Melissa, her sister-in-law's parents or sister. Well, her dad has passed, but her not inviting her mom or her sisters to her wedding because she felt over the years they weren't supportive and they like mean tweets and things like that. And Melissa was like, "But things have been also fine in the last 5 years." And then Louis tried to invite her. I don't know what happened, if she goes to the wedding or not. Probably not, because we know that Melissa and Joe Gorga don't attend. But at the coronation, I thought it was interesting that Princess Kate, um, Middleton, her sister Pippa, got to go with her husband, and so did Kate's mom, which is totally appropriate, which I definitely would have thought. But also, I don't think Pippa or Pippa's mom, who's mom to Kate, was ever writing nasty tweets about King Charles. So I'm just saying, that makes more sense. Also, Real Housewives of New Jersey, Louis' company is under investigation by this law firm. I don't really know too much about this one, but so he had this company in the last few years called Digital Meeting Solutions. He told me that it went public when his company went public like that weekend is the weekend that he met Teresa walking by his house, and they, you know, were he gave her his card and was like, "Please call me," and she did, and they've been together ever since, and that was their cute story. But unfortunately, for some reason, this company is now under investigation of possible violations of state law by this law firm, Glancy, Prongay, and Murray LLP. So I don't really understand what this means, but people are thinking it's Jen Shaw-ish. Also, I don't know that he has a very big role in it anymore. So I don't know if it will even affect him that much, but people are concerned for them that it will affect them in some way. Okay. Now let me get to, okay. Tiger Woods. Let me tell you about Tiger Woods. Remember this story. Tiger Woods was living with this woman for many years. And then he said, "Why don't you pack your bag and meet me on a trip?" And she got all excited. And then his people were like, "Oh, we're waiting for you now." And she got in a car and she took, like maybe told her to pack for like 2 weeks. And then they drove her to an airport and they said, "Bye, he broke up with you and you're never allowed to come back at the house." She is now suing for $30 million. At first, the lawsuit was, she said, "He promised me that even if we broke up, I could live in this mansion for 5 years no matter what." And so based on how big the mansion is and what it would rent for and this and that, I'm suing for this amount of money. He's like, "No, we're broken up and I kind of tricked you this way because I knew you'd never leave." Now she is suing for sexual harassment. She's saying that she initially met him because he hired her to work at one of his restaurants. During the time that he hired her in 2014 or whatever it was, um, she's now saying he sexually harassed her on the job. Then in 2017, they started a romantic relationship in which then he had her sign an NDA, and her lawyers want the NDA to not count because apparently there's some ruling that if sexual harassment or sexual assault is involved, an NDA should not be honored. And since now we are saying she was sexually harassed because at one time she was an employee of his, she should be able to say whatever she wants. And this NDA should not be, held up in court. Then she said, "I then was living with him. And while I was living with him in a romantic relationship, he was somehow still her boss somehow, and he sexually harassed her then while they were living together. And so therefore, she's suing for that." Anyway, she wants $30 million, and he said she's just a jilted ex-girlfriend, and then the attorney said that's exactly what powerful men say about women that say they're being sexually harassed, is that they're just a jilted ex-girlfriend. I mean, I can't. Like, you're so stupid, Tiger Woods, for getting involved with this chick. And also, like, you know what? You're so stupid for ever cheating on your beautiful wife. And you know what? You slept with like 18 people, from Rachel Ucatel to like a Denny's waitress, and you were like complete out of control. And anyway, his wife went on to marry like another billionaire, and she's still gorgeous. So like she got the last laugh, but like, ugh, what a nightmare. I do love seeing how much his little son is like him though. Little son acts just like him when he plays golf, and that's pretty cute. But other than that, there's nothing else cute about Tiger Woods. Okay. Kate Chastain had her baby from below deck. He's a very cute little brunette boy. And a lot of people thought he looked like Chef Ben, who was a big character on the show. And at one time, I think they worked together, and people were like, "Could he be the father?" And she made a response and she said, "No, the only thing that my son has in common with any kind of chef is that they get a little fussy when, around food or something like that." She was being funny. So blatantly denying that that's the father. We don't know who the father is, and we may never, and that's not our business, but he's very cute. Khloe Kardashian finally, after 9 months, revealed her son's name. It's Tatum Robert. Of course, we know Robert is the name of her dad who passed, Robert Kardashian, also her brother, and she wanted to stick with the T theme. That's all we know. Everyone was guessing what other name it would be. Would it be her daughter's True? Would it be Truth? Would it be Truce? Would it be who knows? Because Tristan is a T. Um, we haven't really seen his face, but he looks really cute from the side. They were celebrating Psalm, who is 4, Kim's son's fireman themed birthday. And I guess there was some thing that showed his name on it, like a gift or something, and that was it. So I don't know why they kept it a secret. I thought, yeah, I guess I said because of like the show coming out. Listen, we talked about it. Now I'm reminding you that the show came out. It was all a good plan. Good for you. But both the kids look really cute, so that's fine. More disturbing was that Kanye was seen wearing a pair of Spanx. He was wearing some Spanx leggings. A lot of people said it looked like Skims. Is that a cheater brand? Well, Skims is a cheater brand of Spanx. Spanx was the original. And now, yes, he is having some fashion show today, Monday. You're listening to this Tuesday, but he's having some fashion show today. We don't know if it's happened. I'm sure it's not happened yet. And these Spank Kanye Yeezy pants will be shown. And so the new craze is if you're a man, you're going to be wearing like tight leggings. And I don't know if if he's going to make his girlfriend wear those face masks anymore. I don't know what's happening, but that's the look that's happening here. Real Housewives of Atlanta premiered last night, and I just want to have a few thoughts about it. If you don't watch it, I just have some thoughts about it in general. Candy was the star of the show, as you know. She's been married to Todd for a while, and they have 2 kids. And right off the bat, Kenya comes in and she says, I've been working so much, and he's writing this movie, and he wanted me to help him, or he wants me to produce his movie, and I just don't know if I have the time for it. And she kind of starts to cry about it. He doesn't think I give him enough attention. And then Kenya is like, you need to make time for your man. Then they go home, and while she's feeding the kids takeout, he's sitting there pretending to have a meeting on the phone about his movie script. I just thought, you think that the scene from Vanderpump Rules of Ken acting fake, that Ken scuffling in and saying, I can't believe that Sandavol had Raquel in the hot tub when Ariana was gone. All right. All righty then. Goodbye. Goodbye, Katie. And then he left. And everyone's like, there's no way that, even if it wasn't taped after the scandal broke, some people think it taped after the scandal. I think that definitely he was told to go do that. And we know, like, there was just an article about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City saying, oh, somebody leaked to Page 6 that while they're filming, Whitney and Lisa Barlow's friendship and this whole long thing. And I'm like, now they know that they need us to talk about the upcoming season before it comes out to get us excited about it. Because we heard that Leah from Ultimate Girls Trip Thailand was throwing elephant shit at her castmates and then got kicked off the show. And that wasn't even true. She just got sick and was like barely in it. And it was really boring. It was really boring. So I think they need us to talk about it. Like they need us to talk about how Brandy allegedly sexually assaulted Caroline. And we're like, we all want to watch that Real Housewives of Ultimate Girls Trip now. Cause I'm like, I want to see what happened. But with this, I just felt these girls are professional. Kenya and Candy, they've done this a long time. And they're also entertainers, throughout media prior to the show. And I think they're like, look, your storyline is that you and Todd, which is probably true. He feels like, I want to get these things done. Also, let's talk about what I'm having going on the show. And you're not giving enough attention. And they're like, the quicker that we can get this out, the quicker I can be done and I can take off my mic and you can move on. And it just feels very much like that. But there's a new girl who was like, she comes on and she's real extra. And she's like, so I heard that Candy said that I said that Candy and I were friends, and I never said that, and she even looked up my Instagram like, "I thought you were worldwide. Why is Candy looking at my Instagram?" All right, you're Candy. They're like, "Hey, do you know this girl, Courtney? She's new. She's gonna be on the cast." She is? I don't know if I know her, but she looks sort of familiar. That was the whole thing. So then they go and have this party. Oh, which by the way, the new girl, Sanjay, I think is her name. She's the former Olympian. She throws a party that she spent $100,000 on. And we know this is her own money. This is not Bravo money. She spent $100,000 on this beautiful party, Harlem Nights themed party. So like 20 themed outfits. Really such a flattering party. So and she's like, it's my husband's birthday. I'm spending the 100,000. Meanwhile, she has 9 people living in her house. Her parents, her sister, the sister's husband, who's now her assistant, their 2 kids, her 2 kids. Is that 9? I don't know. There's a couple more people. And I'm like, you're spending $100,000 on this party. But then I thought, you know what? It might be worth the investment because I remember someone also telling me from the Bravo world that the the goal is to have the opening party of the season. If you do that, then right off the bat, you're kind of putting yourself at the center. Usually a fight will happen at the party. They'll constantly refer to the party. It was your party. And I think the $100,000 party for this girl actually was wise to secure her a 3rd season because you're not going to really make any money till you get to the 3rd or the 4th season. So she convinced the 9 people in her house, we're going to have some ramen for a while. We're going to spend $100,000 on this party. And so there you go. So that's where the action happened. The scenes getting up to the party were a little dull, but Atlanta never disappoints and I'll be watching it. So there you go. Kelly and Mark, Live with Kelly and Mark is not live. It's been revealed by fans that realized that they weren't talking about anything topical except how often they had sex. And it wasn't even the night before because they have now revealed that they filmed multiple episodes 2 months in advance, even though it's called Live with Kelly and Mark. I honestly don't think that's that big of a deal. They probably wanted to ensure that they have a nice, strong launch. And being that Mark is newer to the game, even though he's co-hosted a lot, even though they've been married for 25 years or whatever, and they're probably like, let's, be able to finesse it and put out these better episodes. But if they think these were the better episodes, with her recording him snoring and talking about how much sex they're having, I'm like, good luck with it. But so that happened. Okay. Oh, one of my predictions, not totally correct. I will say I definitely thought Amber Heard would bounce back and be, getting lots of roles and things. They believe that she has quit Hollywood and moved to Spain. Amber Heard, she sold her house in Joshua Tree. She's been there. She's now officially moved there, and she's pictured with her daughter having a wonderful time in Spain. This is the daughter who is allegedly one of Elon Musk's kids. So maybe money is not an issue, and that's probably all secret if it is his kid of how much she gets. But she's in no hurry to get back to LA until the right role presents itself. And but she does have 2 films on the horizon. So I don't know when she filmed those films, if they were before the trial or after, but we'll see. I mean, I think if you want to be considered for things, you got to be around and at the people top of mind of people, and maybe not in Spain, but maybe spending a year or 6 months in Spain or something, I think might be a wise choice. So Drew Barrymore, she dropped out of the MTV Awards, which was last night. A lot of people didn't go. In fact, they scraped the whole red carpet. They went. She didn't attend. She was supposed to host it. She pulled out 3 days before to say, "I'm not going to host it because I want to be in solidarity with the Writers Guild." And when she won her award, she thanked the writers. She said, I'm so honored, but it's not just I. There's no I in this acceptance speech. There's only we and us. And special thanks to my 3 writers that are so incredible. And actually, it was really cute. Of course, it was done from her bathroom, keeping it real. Like, you got the award. We're gonna film it. Just do it from your bathroom. Just do it from your bathroom. Anyway, good for her. She's, I like that she's supporting the Writers Guild. I think it was a great idea. Also, Lala stayed home from it, and I think a lot of other people did too. And I think it's important that there's some impact felt by other people that are not writers to support writers in our industry. So good for that. This was interesting. The Oscars now have rules for movies to be considered. So if you're putting together a movie and you believe it's Oscar worthy, and that one day you're like, this is an Oscar type script. This is wow. It used to be that if you wanted to win an Oscar and you're a woman, you had to play a prostitute. That always really helped. Or or somebody that had some type of mental handicap. Well, now they don't want you doing that, and everything. So how else are we going to get this Oscar? And now they have done the rules, which are quite interesting. This is the 93rd annual Oscars. So they are doing, they're saying you have to have basically 30% of a cast and in secondary and minor roles from 2 underrepresented identity groups, or a main storyline or subject that centers on underrepresented identity group, 30%. So at least one lead or significant supporting actor. So it's very confusing. And, but basically, Irish people are not an unrepresented group. However, I guess a woman could be considered an unrepresented group, but not as an actress. Like maybe a woman in, like maybe there's not that many women who are grips, or maybe there's not that many women that are like lighting people. So then if you have a woman lighting person, then she could count as that person. But you also need in your creative production team at least 2 heads of major departments, such as editing, director, makeup, hairstyling, costuming, or sound, as well as many others. They need to be from an unrepresented identity group. So additionally, a minimum of one of these must be from a racial or ethnic group. I mean, I just think this is I mean, honestly, I don't think it's gonna be the end of the movies. I just think it's gonna be the end of the Oscars because like this is I don't think this is right. I think this is like crazy. So like you're putting together a movie and like, this is your makeup artist that's worked with you on like 50 films and you're like, shit, she's a woman and a lot of makeup artists are women, so that doesn't count. Am I just gonna like force her to come out as like, gay or trans or something just so that she'd work on my movie so that I can be considered for the Oscar? Just fuck it. You're just gonna be like, forget it. I'm just not I mean, it's hard. You want to do the best movie, and then you have to put these little dots together to be like, well, wait, they're sisters. So they both do have to be white because they're from the movie is about these rich white people. So these 2 people have to be white and they have to look alike because they're playing sisters. And we want the audience to believe that they're sisters. Okay. So, all right. So, okay, now who else is in it? Okay, well, one sister has a son. All right, let's make the son a trans 11-year-old. Okay, done. But there was kind of an interesting part about the son that he was on the baseball team and, this thing happened, how he was similar to his dad. Too bad. Rewrite that part. Okay, what else do we got? We have a grandmother. Can the grandmother be Asian? Well, the grandmother is supposed to be kind of this bitchy white woman, and I wanted Jane Fonda for that. All right, let's go back to the crew. All right, what do you got? Can we switch out the male lighting director and like take someone? Can someone else? Can we fire him and then put someone as the head of the department that's never been the head of department of lighting that's not a white male? I mean, it's just like It's so stupid and whatever, that's the end. That's the end of the Oscars, in my opinion. We thought it was going to be people not watching. No, this is it. Really, this is when people should just be like, fuck it. I'm doing the movie I want based on the stories I want to tell that are believable. They always say, come to the movies, escape the reality. Well, if the reality doesn't make sense, because it's not a real family because the family is now 12 different diversities and it's about a rich white family. Could Succession not be a movie? Could Succession not be a TV show? I don't know. Like, it's just dumb and it takes you out of the reality. And it's like, I'm so sick of it. It's just like, whatever. Speaking of which, I had an article written about me and the title is Heather McDonald Called Too Old, Straight, and White by Agents. And it was in Daily Mail and it was written and it's based on an interview I said. And yes, that is true. That was said to me. And that is why I have a podcast today, because that was said to me and no one was calling me or putting me on anything. And I said, I guess it's time for a podcast because I am not going to just identify as something else at this point. I'm sorry, to get a job. So sometimes you got to make your own job. Poor Chris Brown and Usher. They got in a big fight. And it was sad because Usher and Chris Brown, they've been best friends for so long. They've collaborated on stuff. And it was in Las Vegas. And Usher threw the party for Chris Brown at a roller skating rink. And then they got in an altercation. The bummer news of this is that the altercation did not happen while they were on roller skates, which would have been amazing. Something happened where, so it was Chris Brown's 44th birthday, and he told the team, hey, I'm leaving. And then Usher followed him out and his team out of the facility. And then all of a sudden, Usher returned from the meeting and with a couple other guys, and Usher had a bloody nose. And they're like, what the hell happened? So nobody saw, there's no like iPhone of them scruffling or fighting. And they've been friends for a year. They've collaborated and they are not talking about it. So who knows who, or maybe someone in the crew fought him, but they're like, let's just make the story go away. And hopefully Heather won't talk about it on Juicy Scoop. This girl did a TikTok that went viral where she said, and she showed a video of her son's first birthday. You know, when people have a 1-year-old's birthday, they have a cake there and it has a candle and they go, happy birthday. And they encourage their kid just to like smash up the cake. And that's like a traditional thing. So the little baby was being like pretty good about not smashing it. And so then the husband took the cake and just smashed it in the mom's face. And it's on video. And so she talks about how she was so pissed that she wanted to choke him if this ever happens again. This was such an important day that she dreamt of it being this way. And then, of course, everybody gets on it and they're like, leave him. He's a narcissist. He's awful. He made the day about himself. He ruined it. You should leave him. File for divorce like Kim Zolciak. Get the fuck out. You'll never get this day back. And then she had to do another video and was like, okay, I'm happy I got 1 million views, but I think I just still want to stay married. Like, I'm not like ready to move out. Sometimes guys and girls, sometimes jokes don't work out. Sometimes they bomb. They bomb. And you think it's funny and you think she's going to like it and you think everyone is around is going to like it. He may have not planned it. It happens. I think smashing the cake in your bride's face, never, not into it at all. I think you can feed each other. I think it's awful. You have a beautiful dress on. You have your makeup professionally done. It's an awful tradition that should go away. Nobody wants it unless you both discuss it and you're like, we're doing the cake at the end of the night. I'm going to have my third outfit on. You're going to smash it. It's going to be a great, video. And then we're going to jump in the pool after and like the party's going to continue. And then we're going to get the in and out bus and who cares? And then I'll put on my bride sweatsuit and I'm going to take a shower anyway. But no, she had to leave the party, wash her hair. And now everyone's telling she has to get a divorce. So think about what you post. Meanwhile, this kid turned 9 and his mom and dad, who are in Australia, they spent $50,000 on a yacht party for him. Here he is in the jacuzzi on the yacht. They just went around the harbor in Sydney and it's $2,800 an hour. and it's a 122-foot super yacht, and he said he wanted a Hawaiian-themed party. He wanted a buffet, a DJ, a tiki bar. He had a two-tiered birthday cake with a little figure of himself on top, and, really a wonderful, wonderful time, and I just wanna say that, you only turn 9 once. It's the last of the single digits. You'll never be a single digit again. So, you probably thought as a parent 9 is, like, not a big deal. You probably thought it was 1 or 21 or 18 or sweet 16 or quinceanera. No, it's 9. End of the single digits. Throw your kid a yacht party. For Drake's 9th birthday, along for every birthday until he was too old to trick or treat, was a Halloween-themed party. His birthday was the 29th, and from the moment I gave birth, I said, "This is gonna make throwing him a birthday really fucking easy." I'm not someone that throws, like, big, elaborate, fancy parties and stuff. So, every birthday, I invited the class or whoever wanted to come to the house. Theme is Halloween, come Halloween night, okay? Already decorated, the neighborhood's already decorated. No need for a gift bag. Guess what the gift bag is? The fucking candy they picked up from everybody else. Genius. Then we would provide pizza for the kids and the parents, along with to-go cups of wine, and we would pull a little red wagon of extra booze for the parents. Pretty great birthday. So I'm just saying, um, his birthday is October 29th. If you have a kid around that time, apparently I did screw up though. He's still mad that I did not have him on the actual Halloween. They said, "Do you want to go home and have your baby probably in a couple days? You'll probably have him on Halloween, or we can give you the medicine now, and which you'll have him by 5 o'clock today on the 29th." And I'm like, "I'll have him on the 29th, so I don't have like a little weird devil baby." And he probably wouldn't want to have his birthday on Halloween. To this day, he said I fucked up. So before he was even born, I have made the wrong decisions for his life. One being the day he was born. So just also know that, moms, that you will never get out of it. Um, Jenny Craig. They are reportedly shutting down all operations after 4 decades. They are closing, I think almost all of them, if not all of them. The actual places that you would go to get weighed in and go to meetings and all of that, that's all gone. They're gonna, like, do it on the internet and get, you'll still have, like, someone that you can, I guess, talk to or, like, a coach or whatever, be weighed in. A lot of people, I agree. I think that a couple things. One is they don't wanna pay for the retail space, just like, Lisa Vanderpump, but obviously all these other weight loss drugs that are really working out great for people is, once someone gets that and they're like, "Well, this works, I don't need to go see this girl and be weighed in front of everybody and eat their weird popcorn. I'm just gonna, like, take this shot and I just will be less hungry and it's working and I've never been happier." So I do think diet industry is going to take a big hit, and this is probably the first one of many. Kyle Richards was very into cutout dresses. She has lost a lot of weight. A lot of people say, tell us what it is, Kyle." You know what? It's not our business what it is. And maybe she is a petite girl. Maybe this is the size she's meant to be. I think her face looks still beautiful, but she did suck in her ribs, and someone took a photo of it, and everyone's all concerned because you could see her ribs. And then she said, "Oh, I'm just sucking it in." Okay, well, whatever. Then Isaiah Washington, he remember him, he was on the early seasons of Grey's Anatomy, and he claims that Grey's Anatomy set was rampant with drug use and swinger parties. He just tweeted a few days ago, I wonder if I should tweet about the rampant alcohol and drugs used amongst my fellow castmates and producers of Grey's Anatomy and all the swinger parties that took place. I remained clean for 3 years and declined the after hours hot tub invites because I was just whatever he said. I was not into it. Anyway, people aren't believing him. They're saying, everyone just says, you're just bitter because you got fired. And you're probably like, "Heather, why did he get fired?" Well, let me tell you a juicy scoop history lesson. He allegedly was homophobic towards TR Knight, who had come out as gay. And this was a long time ago. This is like 15 years ago. So it was a much bigger deal. And the season ended and they let him go, or maybe they let him go in between. Also, Katherine Heigl was the star, and she was TR Knight's best friend. The two of them were best friends, and she got fired, and she went on the red carpet ripping on the writing. So Shonda was like, the writer of it was like, well, screw you. And her head was getting real big because she was, getting all these dumb movies that now you can watch while you get your hair blown out at the dry bar. 27 Dresses, um, something, this other one about like how a man thinks, and I don't know, all these dumb shows. And whenever they're on, it's like, what makes those movies so shitty? It's like the background music of like, like when she's like trying to think of something and she's like, and like, oh, they're so dumb. That's who should not, like those people you don't want to hire for your Oscar team. Whoever did dumb music, sound editing on 2000 type movies that you watch at the dry bar, those sound editors do not hire. They just so corny. I can't stand it. Anyway, she got let go from Grey's Anatomy as well. So, according to The Sun, allegedly Simon and Schuster, who are huge publishers of books, they publish both my books, My Inappropriate Life, and You'll Never Blue Ball in This Town Again, still available. Hope you read them. Also did audio versions of both of them. Anyway, they are supposedly doing Britney's tell-all book. And according to The Sun, they have received 2 very strong worded legal letters from 2 A-listers. We're assuming they are her exes, Britney's exes, that are like, we want to make sure anything that's said about them, it's not going to cause us to sue you. So they're going to have to really make sure. Now we know Justin Timberlake, he's an A-lister. We know K-Fed is not an A-lister. We know Jason Alexander, not from Seinfeld, but from the guy that she married in Vegas, and then who also broke into her house or tried to when she was marrying Sam that day. He's not an A-lister. But what I didn't realize, and was reminded from this article, that she allegedly dated Chris Angel, probably when she was working in Las Vegas, Fred Durst, Colin Farrell, which I didn't know about, Jared Leto. So there might be some juicy stories that they're like, oh, she cannot tell this about me or whatever. And the book could be worth up to $15 million. I don't know if that's all an upfront payment or what they assume they'll make when everybody buys it. I mean, I will definitely buy it. I want to know what the hell is going on. Her Instagram is as weird as ever. And, is it green screen? Does Sam, the husband, only do green screen? Is this really her? Is this AI? I don't know. All I know is the dancing has only gotten worse. And it is more and more like when you're trying to get people to go to a car wash and you have one of those blow up people like that. That's her favorite move. It's really adequate, especially when she wore this like long sleeve white shirt. She really, really looked like those people. Anyway, hopefully she's finding a couple hours a day to like sit on a couch and have somebody guide her, I'm assuming, or, talking to a mic or write it or ask her questions and try to get it in a cohesive story, because I think it would be absolutely fascinating. But yeah, and it is a lot with legal stuff. I always said this about my books, and I think that people should know this, is so I wrote in my books about my life and about certain people. And if I knew that they were happy to be talked about, I just like said their name, I didn't like hide the fact of who they were or anything like that. And then other people, like some guy I dated 20 years ago, I just, as I'm writing it, let's say his name was Bill, I just called him Brad. Then when I was done writing the book, the editor's like, okay, this guy, Brad. I'm like, oh, you mean really Bill? Yeah, Brad. Okay, if we're going to change his name, we need to change a few more things about him, because what you said is not that great, and we don't want this guy coming after you. So we've got to make him not a B name. So make him like Fred. He's a eye doctor. Let's make him a foot doctor, a podiatrist. Okay. He lives in Santa Monica. I go, what, you want to live in Manhattan Beach? That's too close. Let's not do a beach community. Let's do Sherman Oaks. Okay. So then I change all those things. And then people would come up to me and they'd be like, oh my God, the story about Fred had me dying. And I'm like, who the fuck is Fred? Because I wrote it as Fred. And the real person's name is Bill. And so if you're ever going to write a book about your life, change those things right from the start, from your first draft, so that you can be familiar with it and then you don't have to change it later. And I don't know why editors and people don't tell you that right from the beginning of starting your book, but there is some writing skill work. Your story will still be just as funny and as great, and you'll be protected because you changed, like I said, more than just the name. And then the juicy part of the story, whatever it was, he had a micro penis, or, he had too big of a penis, or he had no penis at all, or he got rid of his penis later on in life, then it's okay, because there's no way the guy can come after you, because you're like, no, wasn't you, Bill. It was Brad, who then transitioned into Fred. Okay, I don't know. So anyway, people, the important news is, do you have your plans to come to Vegas? It's going to be the funnest weekend ever. It's going to be perfect weather. It's going to be the best time. I will be there May 27th with Chris Frangiola, Justin Martindale, and Spencer Pratt. We are going to be talking about the juiciest, funniest, unexpected stuff ever at that show. I'm so excited. And of course, we'll just be walking around in the wild too. So that's going to be fun. You're going to walk up to us, see us, take a photo. I'll be looking cute every time I leave the hotel room. So go to heathermcdonald.net. That's also where you get my merch. All the shows are at heathermcdonald.net. San Diego, Napa, the East Coast, San Francisco, Sacramento, all of those places are there. The Hamptons, Tempe. Oh, let me tell you, Tempe, just announcing, you guys, Tempe, I will be at the Tempe Improv, the place where I fell on my head and went viral. But I'm telling you, my act will be much more eventful than that even. I'm excited. I'll be doing all new material that I've been working on that I'm excited for you guys to hear. You'll be the first to hear it. And I will be at the Tempe Improv Friday, the 16th, and Saturday, the 17th of June. June 16th, 17th. Tempe Improv. Get your tickets. It will, like I said, the live shows are the juiciest, because I can really say anything and do anything, and you will be the only ones that get to hear it. So go to heathermcdonald.net and have a wonderful rest of your week. See you Thursday.